Okay, we'll open with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3, opening remarks. You know, we've just kept that there under the circumstances, generally for the superintendent or the town manager. So I don't know if Mr. Swenson has anything.
Just quickly that today, which we'll detail a little bit, we had our last demolition meeting at the Mitchell School on 500 South Street. It was my victory lap, my last lap around that building. And it was bittersweet. Spent a lot of time in that building, obviously, over the course of the last 5 years. And we are ready to roll, it looks like, as of next Monday. The demo company will be in and start to take care of that site. So we're very excited. It feels like it's finally starting to feel like it's real. But again, today was, somewhat bittersweet leaving that building for the last time. But we're excited to what the future holds, and just take that baby down. That's how I left it today with Shane and the demolition team. So very exciting times.
Yeah, that's great. I know it's been a long road for the students and the parents and the administration. So let her roll.
That's it. Just wanted to obviously take this opportunity to thank the folks and the citizens of Bridgewater, obviously, for everything they've done in supporting us, getting us to this point. All of my staff, faculty and admin team, our students, our families, and of course, all of you folks that are serving on our school building committee. Without your due diligence and efforts and, endless hours of voluntary time, we wouldn't be at this stage. So thank you to all of you. And I'm sincere when I say that I'm proud to serve on this committee, but I'm proud to work with all of you, that you were able to continuously support our district and this project. And I can't thank you enough on behalf of the district and myself for all of your efforts. Please know they are truly appreciated.
Well, thank you. All right, I think we'll go on to item 4, the OPM update.
Yeah. Hey, good evening. How are we doing?
Hey, Shane.
Let me just share my screen. Yeah. Can you see the PowerPoint?
No,
Not yet.
it says Shane Nolan has started screen sharing, and that's it, blank. Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we see it now. We can hear you.
So just go through the our standard update. So progress report. So yeah, the demo, as we just said, the perimeter fence and erosion control is ongoing. The erosion control is pretty much finished now. The perimeter fence, they've installed a post, and they'll come back and do the chain link over the next couple of days. The building clean out and make safe of all the electric inside the building and the mechanical systems is complete. The utility services, the gas and the electric have been disconnected from the building, and all the storm and sanitary lines have been plugged in the manholes and in the drains, ready for the building takedown. As Derek said, the building takedown will start on July 6th. They will, at the end of this week, they'll call the building inspector and probably Concom. They'll do a walk of the site before the actual takedown begins. The Concom wants to inspect the erosion control the building inspector will want to see the site fences before the takedown occurs, and then once they give permission to the contractor would start to take the building down and demolish the building sometime next week. 60% construction documents, as you know, were submitted to MSBA on June 8th. We got their comments this afternoon, so I was able to take a quick look at that. There's no real comments that are showstoppers or show changers in there. So I'll take a good detailed look at that later on or tomorrow, and coordinate with Jean and the school department on any action that we need to take, and we can report back to you in 2 weeks. We have 14 days in which to respond to those. But as I said, there's nothing critical to the project or anything that would slow us down that I can see. We've gone to a couple of town boards since we met last. We went to conservation. Our first meeting with them was June 11th. We had a second meeting on the 25th last week. It was last Thursday. Unfortunately, there wasn't a quorum at that meeting, so they were unable to hear our project or any project. So that hearing has been rescheduled for July 9th. Just some of the feedback from the town and the department is that there should be no problems. They're just doing one more review, and we'll hear back from them at their meeting on July 9th. Also on June 24th, we went to the Zoning Board of Appeals to talk about the height variance. As you recall, we're within the zoning bylaws at the front of the building, but down at the back of the building where we're 3-story, we exceed the height bylaw. So we did go to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and happy to say that they voted unanimously to approve that variance. So I think we just need to go through an appeals period, and then they can issue the final paperwork on that. But that went very well. Jean did a very good presentation. Jennifer Burke from the Planning Board and Community Development helped us with that, and we got a unanimous vote to approve that. And then we continued to meet virtually with the district and our working groups. We had a meeting last week, and we have another one, I think, Wednesday this week. We've met with the finishes group as well since the last building committee meeting. So we continue to do those, progress the design, and we'll report back to the full school building committee on the feedback from those. And then RDA, they continue to work on the 90% construction documents, which is our next major milestone, and will be the final MSBA submission that we expect to submit in August. Any questions on that, the demo or anything else? Just our schedule. So our schedule remains the same. There's been no changes to that. The demolition is continuing. We expect that to continue into August. First couple of weeks in August, they should be done with the demolition. 60%, so we're pretty much done with that. We got those comments back today. We'll respond, and that will close out the 60%. But as we're allowed to, we have been proceeding with the 90% design and submission to MSBA. We expect to send the documents to the estimators on August 7th. Takes a couple of weeks to do the third and final cost estimate of this phase of the project, and then we'll submit everything to MSBA in late August. We expect to wrap up the 100% construction, our bid documents, sometime September, October. We'll bid and award the project October, November. The bidding will take about 4 to 5 weeks, and then we have a couple of weeks to review and make a recommendation to the school building committee when we get those bids in, and then we hope to issue a notice to proceed sometime in December, and that will bring us through the 19 or 20 months to July 22. So we're still on schedule with all those dates. Upcoming meetings. So tonight we have school building committee meeting number 41. We're going to the planning board on July 1st. That will be our first meeting with the planning board. We've submitted what we needed to those. Again, working with Jennifer Burke at the community development. We will present the project on July 1st to the planning board. We'll go back to that Concom, that should be July 9th for hearing number 2. Hopefully that will close it out with Concom. As I said, we don't see any hurdles or roadblocks there. Then we're back to the school building committee. We're going to meet July 13th, August 3rd, and August 31st to get those submissions in. And that should round up the 90% construction documents. We'll probably have a couple more meetings before we go to bid in October, and hopefully late in the year we'll have a construction contractor on board, and we'll go to probably monthly meetings once they're on board. Our budget has not changed. Our last pro pay to MSBA was April 27th, so we're just looking into it. We should have received reimbursement at this point. So Sydney in our office is going to just check in, see if there's a hold up. The MSBA offices have been closed for about 10 weeks now, so that may be slowing things up a bit. We will check on that, and we will also get a pro pay submission in for the month of June, and we should see reimbursement in that in about 6 or 8 weeks. But there has been no changes to the budget since we last reported. That's just a breakdown of where we are. The project budget of 80.6 million, our reimbursement rate. Pro pay 1 to 10, we've submitted 2.5 million to date. We've gotten just over $1 million back. As I said, we're waiting for pro pay number 10 to be processed, and we'll get pro pay number 11 in this week to MSBA. Then just wanted to revisit. We talked about the procuring under the 149 procurement Mass General laws at our last meeting. We talked about the pre-qualification and setting up a committee for that. So we just wanted to formally engage those folks onto the committee. As we mentioned, there's 3 representatives from the awarding authority who are required to sit on that committee, one of which is the OPM. So I would be representing DPI. We had a couple of volunteers at the last building committee meeting. I think Matt and Harsh had volunteered to sit on that, and also Bob Pacheco. So all 3 of you folks are certainly very welcome. We only need 2. I think certainly at a minimum we should have Bob on, just as a facilities director, so he has a say that the subcontractors will allow to bid on it. But I would like to get that committee established tonight. The pre-selection schedule. So we are out to public now with the request for qualifications from the general contractors and the subcontractors. So sometime around July 10th, I'd like to just have a kickoff meeting where we'll go through the RFQ and sort of the process for reviewing and scoring the contractors. So we'll do that probably around July 10th. July 15th, we're expecting the qualifications back from the subcontractors. So we expect somewhere between 80 and 100 subcontractors to submit on that on July 15th. So shortly after that, we'll distribute those packages to the pre-qualification subcommittee. We have about 2 weeks to review those. We'll check references for every contractor on previous jobs. And then we'd like to do a pre-qualification subcommittee meeting on July 29th. I'm hoping that we can get through all of them in one meeting. It'll probably be about a 2.5 hour meeting. And if we don't get through it on the 29th, I'd like to do a follow-up, wrap that up on July 31st, and then come back to the building committee in early August to recommend those contractors. Pending that approval from the school building committee, we notify all the pre-qualified GCs and subcontractors in August, and they would be allowed to bid on the project in October. So if we can kind of open that up, John, again, just to sort of set that committee in stone. As I said, Bob has offered, and I think Bob is on vacation this week, so he's not on tonight. But Matt and Harsh, if you guys are still interested.
So,
everybody else.
Shane, can you just clarify? I'm not sure what the first 2 bullets are. So, are you saying in addition to yourself and Bob, there's still 2 spots?
Well, we need a minimum of 1 more, but we can have as many as we want.
Oh, okay. And then there's definitely 1 from the designer, right?
Correct. And I spoke to Gene today, so that'll be John Bartecki from RDA.
Okay, and so they'll be voting, right? Will it be
Um,
voting or will it
well-
just be,
No, the pre-qualification will do the review and we'll come to the school building committee with our recommendation and you guys would vote to approve that list.
okay. I guess what I'm getting at, so there's a minimum, but is there a sweet spot number for having a quorum to vote in case somebody can't make it?
Well, as I said, the pre-qualification committee won't vote as such.
They don't have to vote to make a recommendation to the full committee? If not, then that's fine.
Yeah, no, I don't think they need to make any formal votes. We'll recommend it up to your committee, John, to the school building committee for approval.
Okay. So, Bob and Harsh and Mark.
Matt?
Oh, Matt, I'm sorry. Okay. Is there anybody else interested? I mean, I'm definitely interested, but I don't need to be on the subcommittee. Nobody else? I know I wasn't there last meeting, so.
John, were you interested in that?
Yeah, I mean, I am interested just as the committee chair, but since there isn't a maximum number, if there's a few more people, I don't see why that would be a problem, especially over the summer. Are you interested?
No, I would like you to be interested.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, I'm interested, but thank you
Okay.
for making sure.
Okay.
Okay, so do I just need to make an appointment, Shane, or do we have to actually vote on something like that?
I think we can just formally appoint them.
And that's just me making the appointment?
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
And certainly if we want to formalize it, we can vote, but I don't think it's required. It's up to you.
okay, so Bob, Harsh, Matt, and myself. In addition to you and somebody from RDA.
Yeah, John Bartecki, yeah.
Okay. I'll just ask the superintendent if he has any other thoughts or if that's agreeable to him.
No, absolutely. That sounds like a good crew right there.
Okay, that's what we'll go with then.
Okay.
And then if anybody else is interested, they get some type of urge after this meeting, you're always welcome. Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, thank you. So I'll reach out. I'll confirm those meeting dates, and I'll send the committee a copy of the RFQ so they can look at that, and I'll walk folks through just the process. But it is pretty easy.
Yeah, and if I need to do anything in writing other than the meeting notes to formalize it, let me know and we'll just do it.
Okay. No, I think we should be okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks to Bob, Harsh, and Matt also.
Right.
So then just we had talked a little bit about alternate during the bid process. And so the advantage of having those is a kind of a bid protection in the event that we are over our construction budget on bid day. So, you know, we recommend having at alternates around 1 to 2% of the construction value. These alternates would effectively reduce the construction budget, but they would give us some flexibility if we come in over budget on bid day. We would expect us to come in under budget on bid day and we just add these back into the project. But if we don't have that bid protection and we come in over budget, we either have to you know, fund the project from contingency. We have to cancel the bids, redesign and rebid, or go back to the town and look for more money. Three options, which we certainly don't want to have to do. So this just gives us some protection against the market. I've talked to Jean about this. We've started to put together a list. We don't have a list for you guys tonight. I can throw out some ideas we've had, but we plan to come back probably at the next meeting with the list and some values on those. The other thing to note is whatever way we list these alternates, we have to accept them in the sequence that they're listed. So if we end up with 5 alternates, we have to take alternates 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can't take alternate 1, then jump to number 3, then jump to number 5. So there is a bit of strategy in that, but I think we need to put together the list first, put together the estimated values of those, and then we can concentrate on the sequence that we list them in. Again, just the sort of low-hanging fruit, if you like, that we see a lot. Some of the ones we're looking at is perhaps the school guard glass. School guard glass is it's a film on the glass that protects it against people breaking into the school. We do have a lot of that in there, so we can look at either reducing that or eliminating it. Excuse me. It's a pretty easy alternate to do. You just have to change the spec. There's no change to the drawing. One thing we had looked at early on in the project was there's a pre-K play area. Sort of we had the original behind the L shape, and there was another one sort of at the back door of the school. So we had talked about putting that in as an alternate. We could include that. We'll show you that at the next meeting. We have roof screens to shield the rooftop equipment. We often see those as an add alternate. They're an easy one to add back in as an alternate. Another one we see a lot, we have linoleum as the floor finish throughout the building. We sometimes put VCT in. VCT is a little less expensive. There is some more maintenance required of VCT. You have to wax that every year. The linoleum that we have in the base contract, you don't have to do that, but that could save some money, so we suggest that. And then one that the DPW never likes, but we have granite curbing throughout the project. We can look at doing either a concrete curbs or Cape Cod berm for our curbing. And again, it's an easy one to take as an alternate and very easy to add back in. So those are some of the ones that we're looking at. We'll put some prices to those and perhaps to come back at the next meeting in a couple of weeks with a final list and some values.
So Shane, on that last one, we still have to meet the town requirements, right? So if that's an alternate, that specific one's an alternate, we need to make sure that we're in.
Yeah, I'll double check what the town requirements are. I know in the school up the street there, not the Williams, it's a combination of concrete and Cape Cod berm. So there is other schools with that in there, but obviously, granite is more durable. It's better for plowing, and that would be the sort of the first choice. But it is. But
Yeah, understood. If it's an alternate and it's in their purview, I just want to make sure we don't propose an alternate that they're not going to accept.
Sure, we can.
So what were the dates now? You said it's got to be the estimator needs to have these set before it goes to the 90% estimator, right?
Right. So by August 7th, I think we have two meetings. We have a meeting on July 13th and a meeting on August 3rd. So we'll come back on July 13th with a list and maybe finalize it for August 3rd before we go to the estimators.
Yeah, let me ask the superintendent. Derek, does that give you enough time if you get it on the 13th for us to make a decision as to whether whatever is proposed is in, and then the order, because the order will be important.
Yes. So Shane,
Yeah.
leading up to that, will we have a working group meeting planned?
We do, Derek. I got to
Okay.
check, but I think we do for Wednesday next week, maybe.
Yeah. I think it's the 8th.
Yeah.
Is it the 8th?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, is that something in terms of, having Bob obviously part of that working group. And I think we could kind of figure that piece out, and that should give us enough of a
Yeah.
timeline.
Yeah, okay, so
I would say.
as I said, this is some protection. It's not eliminating this stuff. It's eliminating this stuff if we end up over budget, right? Right now, this project is in great shape. I've been at this point on projects where we're over budget and we're cutting stuff. We're not cutting anything here. We're just proposing alternates as an insurance policy.
Mhm.
The expectation would be that this stuff would end up in the project. We just need to protect ourselves against the market. If the second wave of COVID happens, a month before we bid, and suddenly contractors get nervous and they're adding costs, for that kind of scenario.
Right. It's just that we got to be prepared to whatever item is in there that we don't get it. So,
Yeah.
So I think obviously the administration should be comfortable with whatever we're proposing in the order, and then the committee, I don't know if it requires a vote, but I think we should vote it so that because it's a change in the design, potentially, not the design, but the resulting facility that we would move forward with.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea.
All right, so it sounds like that schedule and that sequence of events sounds.
John, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
On the alternates, are we voting? Will we vote to accept those alternates in a certain order?
You will, yeah, to list them in that order in the bid documents, and then when we get the bids in, when we're approving a contractor, we'll approve them for his base bid plus alternates 1, 2, 3, 4 for a total of whatever the total is.
Okay, thank you.
We just wanted to go out in the order that we wanted to, and then
bring the things back in.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, does anybody else have any questions on that? And I don't know if you have a write-up, Shane, when you do send this out or it gets in front of the committee, how this works, if there's a concise write-up, that might be helpful to send out.
Sure, yeah, I'll put something together.
Did somebody have a question? I think I spoke over somebody.
John, I do have a question just for clarification. So would the add alternates also allow us to potentially add or enhance the building features if bids come in below current projected pricing?
We can certainly do that, Lil. Yeah, I mean, we can add nice to haves, but they would obviously be further down the list. We want to put back what we're proposing as bid protection, but then there's no limit on the number of alternates you want. I would say that we probably want to max it at about 6 to 8, but there's nothing that would stop us putting terrazzo floor in all over the school as a nice to have in the event that we came in so far under budget we could afford that.
Right. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Shane.
Yeah, that was a good question, Lil. Shane, what have other, or if anybody from RDA has an opinion, what have other districts done faced with an estimate that is under their budget, let's say, or the authorized budget or funding amount, going into bid? Because it seems like for municipal work, it doesn't happen often.
It doesn't. I look at it with Gene and his team. I mean, coming into this project, we made a commitment to make this an educationally appropriate building, and there was a lot of talk about the educational program and plan and how we were meeting that, and that we weren't going to build a Taj Mahal. So, we need to be conscious of that. We don't want to start adding, stuff to it. But I talked to Gene and Derek right now. We meet all our goals. We can certainly make the building look nicer. Will it enhance the educational profile? Possibly, but you know, we already meet those goals. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, because the flip side is if it's something that's not, if it's beyond an enhancement of something we already have in the scope, that's one thing for the architectural team. But if it's something completely new, then it has to be specified and be represented in the bid package. So
Correct.
there could be more work for them to do if we go down that path.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good point. I don't know. It's a fine line to walk.
I think Shane kind of hit it on the head when he mentioned terrazzo. It's kind of not a need to have, and it's not something in the project right now, but you know, it's an enhancement. Does it look nice? Yes. But when we were talking to Bob Pacheco and kind of the technical group the other day, you know, that is something that your lobby, you're going to have 200 parents going in and out every day, you know, getting their kids, or maybe, you know, the bus corridor down by the cafeteria where all the kids are going to gather for busing. So, you know, that, John, that's a fairly simple thing, you know, instead of, I don't know, vinyl tile, put terrazzo. And it's an enhancement, but it's really kind of a good use of an enhancement because it's going to last forever with very little maintenance, you know, and save the district a lot of headaches. So I don't know how many of those things there are, because I think, you know, we've got a pretty complete scope in the building, but that was one that popped up last week and Shane and I were chit-chatting about today.
Well, maybe it would be prudent to have a few. I mean, anything that enhances what we have or increases the longevity or reduces operating costs. I mean, those are slam dunks for me being on the list. But maybe we just think about it and have something for that scenario that Lil pointed out. But I don't know how we corral it, you know, so it doesn't take a lot of time and get out of hand. But it would be prudent to have something.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
This is Kathy. So I was starting to look through the MSBA submittal, and there's a lot of sections in there where they talk about the ad alternates. What's their view on those, and do they ever reject an ad alternate?
No, they as long as we're in budget, we recommend it. They won't reject it. If it's, you know, if we do those bid protection ones, those are within scope already. If we can demonstrate that, you know, we're over budget, but you know, not accepting them, we can still meet the educational program and the intent of the PFA, the project funding agreement. They'll allow us to reduce that scope. If there was some nice to haves, excuse me, you know, I don't think they would reject them, or they would not allow us to do it because we're over that cap anyway. They only reimburse up to $333 a square foot. We're at about $498 a square foot. So, you know, we're $166 or so over their cap. So they would allow us to do it within that cap. It would need to be 100% funded by the town, and they wouldn't participate in it. To answer your question.
John, it's Mark.
Yes. Go ahead, Mark. Mark, did we lose you? I think we lost Mark's audio. Why don't we move on, and if Mark reconnects, we can certainly answer his questions. Or did I lose everybody?
No, I can hear you. So that's the end of my presentation. Is there any other questions?
So I guess just to follow up on Kathy's question, so having a summary of some of the key points that the committee wants to factor in when they make decisions on ad alternates, whether it's for bid protection or, because we think we're coming in with a low, below our budget. I think that would be helpful because, we're all going to have the same questions. Shane, if you have something that's canned or you can put together that
Sure.
would make us smarter on how that all works, because it isn't straightforward. Locked in, we don't have much flexibility once we set that in motion. That would be helpful.
Yep, I can do that.
All right, if there aren't any other questions on the OPM update, or if Mark hasn't reconnected, then we can go to the designer update.
Yeah, well, as I said, Gene, are you going to talk about the sewer survey?
Oh, I wasn't quite prepared. Do you know much about it, Shane?
Yeah, so just we got the as you know, we were going to clean out and survey the sewer line from the school at Wally Kruger Way to Route 18. So we just got that report this morning. Again, so I just took a quick look at that. It does look like we may need to do some repairs. I think there was a couple of areas between manholes where there was a back pitch or there was some damage to the pipe. So we're gonna run that by the water and sewer departments, have them take a look at it. But that scope that we hadn't been carrying in the project, and we'll investigate it a little bit further. As I said, we just got that report this morning, so there may be some extra work out there that we may need to do as part of the project. We'll update you on that in the next meeting as well.
Okay, sounds good.
John, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. My iPad keeps shutting off, so I'm on a cell phone.
Okay, so you're up.
So my question was, I was looking at the dates between the meetings and the 90% submission, and I was just wondering, unless I'm mistaken, I'm just looking at the August 28th, 90% CD submission, and we're having a meeting on August 31st. So does that mean at the August 3rd meeting we're approving it?
I may have to fine tune those meetings a little bit more, or maybe we just push that submission to September 1st.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. Thanks.
We will fine tune that, yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Welcome.
Do you want me to roll through a quick summary, John, or?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. I'd like to share my screen, so I'm not sure who's controlling. Great, thank you. Great. Everyone can see an agenda up on their screen?
We do.
Okay, great. So I think I was competing with Shane for having having items to talk about tonight. But so Shane already covered that we received the CD60 review comments. We concur with Shane that there's nothing too crazy about them. I think, Derek, you had a question about whether we could help you with a DESI issue, and we, I think I wrote back and just said we'll just take care of it and take it off. There's really not too much that you need to worry about.
Okay.
On the Interiors Committee, it's one of the working groups that you guys have set up. We met last Monday, And look, every time we meet, we have great conversations and we get really good input. So Christine and Steve from our office are kind of picking up the comments that were made, and we have another meeting a week from Wednesday. So that's kind of right after the 4th of July. And we're looking forward to showing kind of another iteration. At some point, they'll want to report back out to the building committee. And we'll just see, how we do at the next meeting, or it's one more after that. And then, we've been busy over the last few weeks. Shane mentioned we got the height variance. Your former chairperson, Jerry, couldn't wait to make the motion, so he was very supportive, which was appreciated. The Conservation Commission, we're just waiting for the town engineer to kind of approve one of the documents, and hopefully July 9th, that'll be all set. And really kind of the gist of what I wanted to bring tonight to you was we have our first planning board presentation on Wednesday night. It'll be a Zoom hearing. And what we put in an application a couple weeks ago with some drawings and a lot of narratives. So what we'll be talking about with them is they have kind of purview over traffic and site circulation. And I think the traffic report that we did way back in PSR stage really said that especially since there was a school there with more kids in it previously than will be, that even with the bus going out to Route 18, there was literally no impact to the surrounding intersections. So we'll just highlight that for the planning board. I also think we knocked it out of the park on the site circulation. And I think, MSBA asked for diagram after diagram. And I think, like I say, I think we're all set on site circulation. We'll have our landscape architect and our civil engineer on the hearing, and they'll go through the landscaping on the project. They'll go through all the site utilities, and most often an important piece of that is how are you going to deal with all the water that falls out of the sky onto the site, so you're not flooding the town sewer system or flooding neighbors. So they call that stormwater management. And Jeff Pilot from Semiotis will present that. We'll also have a site plan showing where all the exterior lighting fixtures are and how kind of what the light levels are throughout the site. The obligation is that we don't have any light from those lamps that falls onto a neighbor's property. And the nice thing is about the whole site lighting package, and maybe John will, say, yeah, that's what everyone does. But all the fixtures will be controllable by the building management system. They'll all be dimmable. They'll all be programmable, when they come on, shut off, what light level. So again, I would expect that would go over very well with the planning board. And then the final thing that they, and Pat, you can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this stuff, but the final thing that we were asked to provide in our application was what does the building look like? And I'm not sure that the planning board wants to get into the weeds on what color the brick is, but typically they're interested in, what's the massing of the building, kind of what's the shape? Is it, I don't know, does it look like it kind of fits in okay on its site? When I talked to Jennifer Burke, she said, look, if it was in a historic district, they might really want to get into the, the weeds on some of the details, but typically it's just, like I say, the size, the bulk, the massing. So what I wanted to do tonight was just run through kind of where we were to date. I think we all know what the building looks like, but we've been showing it with a taupe brick and some yellow accents. I thought I'd run through that. And then we also took a look at what if, it's a red brick and there's some other accents. You okay there, Derek?
Go, let's go. I'm good. I'm falling and I can't get up.
Pull the chain.
Well, I think that was my signal to move the slide. Derek's falling asleep.
No, it's been a long day.
Yeah. So this is, it's a rendering you've all seen. I just have it here that we provided this to the planning board to give them an overview of what's been done to date. We showed this one to the ZBA and the planning board, but these are, they want to see just straight on building elevations. And what we showed the ZBA was, hey, anything up near South Street is 32 feet tall, which is under the zoning. And as Shane mentioned, we needed to get a variance on the backside, which was, above the 35-foot zone. But so planning board has seen this in black and white. And, I think the renderings really help because looking at this compared to looking at, a three-dimensional view is a little bit different. So this also is one of the drawings that we sent to the planning board. So we wanted them to understand when you're coming in the upper left here, when you're coming in from South Street, you're really looking at a two-story building, and we've tried to mark the entrance. And as you pull kind of around the corner and you're looking straight at the front door, again, it's kind of appearing as a nice two-story building. And then as you all know, the site goes down, we have this wonderful playground, and we have the cafetorium kind of mass here. And then on the back, we just made the point that though it's a three-story building, part of it is only 2 stories. So, it's kind of scaled down on the backside, even though it doesn't front any neighboring properties, or I don't think anyone will really see it. So that's what the planning board has seen because we submitted that as kind of an explanation of the bulk and massing of the building. And so these are just some large scale views, again, pulling into the site. Steve and I have been talking about materials using a lot of cementitious panels. There's a lot of panels out there that can look like anything. They can look like wood, and if you're kind of standing there and you're looking at it, you're like, wow, that's really cool. They use some wood, but a lot of them are kind of plastic based, or even like I'm going to say Formica for lack of a better word, but something like your kitchen counter, where if you scratch it, it's a little bit hard to repair. So what we like is, I guess from the standpoint of a municipal building and having to be durable for 50 years or easily maintainable, are kind of cementitious panels are about, I don't know, 1/2 or 5/8 inch thick, very durable. They typically have a factory painted finish and a couple of clear coats. But the nice thing is if someone came up and, took a key to it or scratched it, it's hard to get through the finish. But if you do, it's not plastic, it's porous, cement. So you can kind of touch it up without having to replace panels. Anyway, that's what we were kind of showing in these yellow areas, and maybe this cornice up top. And then we have obviously brick. In this case, we're showing the taupe brick. And then here we're thinking that there might be an accent brick of some sort, whether it's a dark brown or a black. And I want to make the point that we're not asking you to approve any of these. It's just that this is what we're going to show the planning board. And if you have strong feeling one way or the other, don't bother showing this one, show the red one, or vice versa, let us know. But our strategy with the planning board is, again, not to say this is the finished product, but to say this is what we're looking at and working with the committee on finalizing. So again, you know, with this taupe colored brick, the thought is these are young kids. It's kind of a soft color. And when you look at the red building, you know, you'll see like this kind of recedes from sight. The red building maybe kind of comes forward a little more visually. We can make either one work, but I'm just trying to give you guys some data points. So if this is the front of the building, and again, it's a masonry building. We're looking at some sort of masonry base. These are all the windows along the administrative suite. One of the themes that's going on in the inside of the building is that we have this idea of growth and thriving. And we're expressing it inside the building with kind of some vertical trim that kind of runs up through some of those floor openings. And so what we've been looking at is a painted panel that can be ripped or manufactured in various widths and can have different factory paints on them. So though it doesn't have a wood grain, it still has kind of a mottled organic look to it. And the same thing up at the cornice. The other things are these white kind of roof structures, and whether this returns to the building or comes down to the earth like the one over here. This is an aluminum panel system, which again is very durable and shouldn't be a maintenance problem. And on the south side of the building, we have these horizontal louvers that, if you know, kind of as you're driving around, every once in a while you see something like that on a building. Most of the time it's on the south side, because what they do is when the sun's high in the air in the southern sky, they'll actually shade a good portion of the windows below them, so that you're not getting hot spots and you're not getting a lot of heat gain. So there's kind of some aluminum here and here, there's brick, and then these cementitious panels. Looking at the cafeteria, again, we haven't finalized everything, and whether we would like to have these be masonry piers, and if we want to carry some of the yellow through, we might do it with a glazed brick as opposed to some of these panels, or we might wrap some of these thin posts with these panels, or it might just all be a solid base color. And again, we're not trying to make decisions tonight. We're just trying to say that it's kind of a work in progress and something that we want to finalize for the CD90. The gym has these high windows, right? So all the wall pads are down low, and then up high are these nice windows. And we've always looked at treating this not with the same brick that's on the building, but making its own kind of statement. It's its own facade, kind of expressing that there's a big 2-story space back there, as opposed to kind of small rooms for the classrooms. And then around the back, we thought we might bring some of this vertical siding, and we're looking at maybe if the cornice up top is more kind of in the browns, or maybe more like kind of a wood tone, that we could drop it down at the stairway and kind of run it along the back with the art and the maker spaces. Maybe highlight the library with a different color. But what we're always trying to do is break down, not just have all the materials be the same, but kind of have each mass, if possible, have some differentiation and some visual interest. So that was kind of the taupe scheme that we've always had. And if you want, I can just go through another option, and then we could just open it up to comments.
Sure.
Okay. So we did take a look at a red brick option. It's kind of a lot of the same materials, but just different colors. So when we go to the planning board, I don't want to be asking for permission for specific colors. We just want to talk about the shape of the building and kind of the materials. But this is, you know, simply a red brick as opposed to a taupe brick. You know, the same kind of vertical kind of modeled elements out of cementitious boards, and the same aluminum. And when you look at the front of the school, you know, if you said to us, geez, it's really got to be red, you know, whether this is all the right tone or not, I don't know. But again, we can kind of work with the colors if we use a painted panel as opposed to kind of a pre-finished panel. We're showing you the same views, and it's all the same stuff with the sunscreens and the same products, just again in these different colors. You know, what happens down here is kind of what we're working with now. We're working with the I guess I'll call them the design committee. We've been looking a lot at the interiors, but you know, we need to fold in the exteriors with them also. And that's kind of what we're doing at this point in the project. So again, breaking down the masses, it's always the same theme. It's just different kind of colors. So again, I keep repeating myself, but you know, one of the things we have to do is show the planning board kind of the massing and what the building might look like. And we don't expect them to approve colors, but we wanted to run it by you all before we threw it up on the screen for them on Wednesday night. That's that was really what I wanted to get on the table tonight, John. And if anyone has any thoughts or comments, you know, we'd definitely like to hear them.
Yeah, I don't have any. Does anybody have any comments or thoughts for the planning board? Going once.
So given that, that's great. So our suggestion would be that we, as I said, work with that kind of design subcommittee, you know, on the interiors and exteriors, and at some point come back to your committee, the full committee, with a recommendation. Okay.
Good.
And I think, Jeff, you have so kind of beyond those design subcommittee meetings that are ongoing, I think Jeff has 2 or 3 technical subcommittee meetings. Is that
correct,
Jeff?
Yeah, we have what I'd like to do, 2 meetings in the month of July, one being on the 15th, and then seeing where we're at and maybe adding another one. But what they are, and they sort of overlap, a wrap up of the security working group with the fire and police, and show them where, you know, what the input that we had from early on in the meetings that we had, and actually presenting it to them. Wanted to review areas of first response and the labeling of that as an example. We'd also go through the security, and such as what Shane talked about, the types of glass that are around the building, such as the school guard, and the approach that was there. We'd also talk about the hardware and the door controls, and basically how the parents enter versus a visitor entering, that whole process, reviewing that one more time. I think it's good that we do that, make sure that everyone's on board with that. And then it overlaps into the technology. Some of these these meetings will have consultants, which would be GGD, the security and electrical and the controls. And so it's a meeting that may last and overlap. Do a morning meeting, goes into an afternoon just to finish up, or we go into 2 different Wednesday meetings. But that's the approach that's there on that. One of the things that, as a highlight, Dennis was involved with Lillian and who else was it? I'm sorry, I forget the names. But we talked about door hardware and the process. And we want to go through that one more time and make sure that the operation of the hardware is what they're looking for. So that's big picture item there. More of the technical stuff. We did have a couple meetings a while back with Bob Chico. We've come to a resolve on the snow management plan, which was presented, I believe, at the, which meeting was it, Gene? I think it was the planning board.
Yeah, the planning board's coming up, and they probably will want to talk about it, Jeff.
Yeah, so we reviewed that with Bob Chico, and he understands where that is with the snow management plan. And then also we got into the weeds again a little bit with toilet accessories and process. So, you know, those are the type of technical meetings that we have had. I can go into more detail, but I think that's where we are at this time. And as we have the meetings, we'll go into more detail at that time. I think that's it.
Derek, do you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. In that conversation we had about toilet paper dispensers, I learned more about toilet paper dispensers in that 3-hour meeting than I ever wanted to know about. But
Sort of like roof drains?
yeah,
Sorry.
I really tried, John. I really did.
You knew I was waiting for that opening.
Jeff, when we initially met with the chiefs, deputy chiefs, we talked about the exterior doors being labeled.
Yes, and they're actually, we have them labeled. There's a process that they're sort of labeled counterclockwise. And in a process, all the doors are labeled, whether the, you know, for first responders. And we have that done, and that'll be part of our meeting.
Okay.
With the fire department and the police department.
Because if I remember correctly, there was a little, not discrepancy, but they had, I think one party had concerns that it was a lettering system, the other one a numbering system. What are we using on the exterior?
We actually, it's a hybrid of both. It's an A, B, C, D. Basically, there's 4 sides of the building.
Okay.
And B in the front would be, I believe, A. I always go backwards, but I think B or C are left or right, and then B's in the back. And then however many exits there are or entrances, it would be like A1, A2, A3, A4.
Okay. Yep. I remember that. Okay.
And then the next step would be if, you know, the question was cut, they didn't answer us, they wanted to come back to us, was, do you want us to label the rooms at the ground level on the glass on the outside?
On the windows.
On the windows.
Yeah.
And so, you know, some of the school systems are doing that. And that was something that they really didn't think about, but that's one of the things that we'll talk about further.
Using the hybrid lettering and numbering system in the interior too?
We spoke about that. I mean,
hello?
Hello? Yeah. Jeff, was that you said on the first level or the main level using that system too? So would that be that hybrid of lettering and number system?
Well, so the rooms would be labeled exactly the way the plan would be. Okay, what if you're in the corridor and you see room A22 210 or A110. That would be what's on the outside. The entrances is a hybrid where, you know, there's a certain response, you know, first responders response labeling that we do. And it's usually above the door or on the door. And it's a decal that's typically there. We've already talked about the location of what we call Knox boxes and where they're at. And we're going to review those type things. Basically, a Knox box is where a fire department or the police can come to a certain entrance, open up that Knox box. They have a key to it, and they have the key, there's keys or a card in there that can get into the building.
Okay, thank you.
But one of the things that, Derek, that we will do is the numbers that we have in the rooms right now are construction numbers. And that's all they are, is construction numbers. Those won't be the numbers. And we'll actually sit down with you during the construction process and number all the rooms and what they actually want to be called, and that'll be on your sign of each door. And then that signage package actually gets tied into the fire alarm package for the addressable system. So if, you know, a smoke or something goes off, they know exactly where it goes off.
Great.
All right, let me keep going. I just want to make sure you knew that.
I think that's it's kind of the activities we've been up to and are kind of projecting, you know, for the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
All right, any questions?
Just one more thing, Jeff. When we're doing that, we're doing the numbering system for the rooms. It's gonna be a numbering system. It's not gonna be, some of our sub-separate programs are not going to be identified through signage, correct? It's not going to say.
It'll be whatever you want. The spec is written so that there's numbers and words after it, and then it's also in Braille, you know, and so all of that is exactly the way you want it.
Yeah, Desi doesn't want us identifying special ed programming.
Right, so it'll be,
yeah.
You may say it's, you know, you'll figure out exactly what you want to call it and call it exactly that.
You might just want room numbers.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think that's the best. Because again, it may evolve to, those rooms may not be what they are down the line too.
That's
correct.
I mean,
We'll go through that, but you're required to have a room name everywhere. It's what we call it.
But not posted correctly, correct, Shane?
I believe it's got to be posted in Braille, room number. You can't room number and name. But we'll go through that in one of our working groups. We'll go through room by room.
Okay.
but that's not, that way we approach it, Derek, is that we do it during the construction period. We don't
Right,
do it
yeah,
during the
we'll talk
design
about
phase.
this.
But, you know, sometimes we go ahead and get it done now, and then it's ready, and when the contractor's on board, we submit it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or questions for the designer update? All right, thank you.
John, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I had
go
to
ahead.
find my unmute button. Jean, would you be able to, I know it's hard to believe, Derek. Would you be able to send me a copy of your presentation so I have it for my records as well?
Sure, absolutely.
Thanks.
You bet.
All right. Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you, Jean and Jeff. Item 6 is confirm pre-qualification to subcommittee, which we addressed in item 4. If there's any more discussion on that, we can have it now. Otherwise, we can move on. Everybody all set? All right, item 7, report of the communication group.
Thanks, Sean. A couple quick things. Just a reminder for folks, if you're watching this after the fact, we have a website. It is bridgewaterschoolproject.com. And we also have an email address that is bridgewaterschoolproject@gmail.com. For the committee, we need write-ups for the following folks for the website. Mark Lindy, Kathy, John, and Matt Rushton. If you go to the website and click on project, meet the project team, you'll get an idea of what we're looking for. So if you could send those along, that would be greatly appreciated so we can get the website updated with your information. And that's all we have, I think.
Okay, thank you. Item 8 is public comment. Is there anybody that has any comment?
There's nobody from the public, John.
Okay. Item 9, approval of previous SBC meeting minutes, June 15th. I know I'm going to abstain because I was not in attendance.
I was not there either, so well.
So somebody could make a motion to approve them, or?
Motion to approve the minutes from Monday, June 15th, 2020.
Second.
Sorry, who seconded?
Kathy, please.
Sorry, was that Kathy?
Yes.
All right, we'll do the roll call vote. Michael Dolan.
Aye.
Lillian.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Kathy.
Aye.
Michael Loesch.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Marsh.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Joe. That's it, right? That's one. Maybe you dropped out. Okay. All right, thank you.
Item 10, next meeting.
So 2 weeks from now, July 13th.
Okay, July 13th. Same time, same place. Item 11, additional committee discussion. All right, anything? I don't see anybody, Michael. Do you?
No. Nope.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's a big week, big turning point for the project coming up here, so that'll be great. Next item is motion to adjourn.
So moved. This is Mike.
Second, Mark.
Okay, the roll call vote. Start with you, John.
Yes.
Michael Dolan.
Aye.
Lillian.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
Michael Loesch.
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Marsh,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
see Joe now. Joe,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes, I voted for somebody else.
thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good
Have a good
4th
Fourth.
of July
Thank you.
holiday, Independence Day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everybody,
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
great shirt, John.